Do your neighbors judge you when you run around like a madman to the mailbox? Are you spending the last of your paycheck on a book of stamps? Do you find yourself printing form letters at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, welcome to Autographers Anonymous.
Welcome to Autographers Anonymous, a place where we discuss our addiction to the greatest hobby in the world. Here are your hosts, Andy Summers, Chasing Ink, TTM Troy, Mike the Godfather, and yours truly, Zane Savage. We're going to start off with TTM of the Week. This is a contest that we hold every show, and we invite you to send in your TTMs, the best ones you got, and we'll pick the best one that we see. And if you win, you'll be entered to win a giant pool of autographs at the end. This week, the winner is Eric L. Congratulations, Eric L. He won with a Michael Richards signed photo, and you can see that right here. An amazing, amazing signature. Michael's notoriously hard to get, kind of a private guy after some incidents. So we had to pick that one for TTM of the Week. And just a rundown again, real fast, of who you can get if you win this contest. One winner at the end of the season will win Wayne Gretzky. I'm going to say autographs from Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Nolan Ryan, Joe Namath, Sally Ride, Jim Irwin, Daniel Radcliffe, Bryan Cranston, and Bart Starr. So that's what you win if you win the whole shebang at the end of the season. So get your entries in for the next show. And again, the TTM has to be received in those 2 weeks between the shows. Okay, moving on. Mike.
All right, got a few things in this week. Let's start with this one. This is kind of an odd one. This is one of my mailers. I don't know if somebody that bought something from me or donated, but I got this in a nice Von Miller 8x10. So if you're watching the show and you donated it, thank you. No nothing. I don't know where it came from, so weird story with that one. But anyways, I did get some 8x10s for autographs for a cure. The lovely Mary Costa, who was the voice of Princess Aurora in Sleeping Beauty, still one of the most awesome signatures around. Signed that one. Here's an original print of Sleeping Beauty. Signed down there.
How old is she now?
I think she's 90. She's supposed to be done signing, but she's still plugging away. Another Sleeping Beauty one, and then she sent me this one, which I think she sends to pretty much everyone, and just an amazing signature. So pretty awesome that she's still signing for fans. Did get something from our friend Caleb, a longtime supporter of Autographs for a Cure. Sent some stuff. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I mean, he's been fantastic. If you're not sub to him on YouTube, find him, Caleb's Cards. But he always sends any extras. Just a few that I'm going to show. He sent a little stack here. Tracy Lawrence, country music, baseball, old Bobby Brown, pretty awesome there. Just a hodgepodge of stuff. Bo Bridges, this is pretty cool. It's from one of the Stargate ones, signed in silver. Hall of Famer Dan Fouts, and a few other ones. So thank you, Caleb, always for the continued support. That's awesome. Got a card in, an actual card. Harold Baines was nice enough to do one more for me. 1990 Fleer All-Star.
He's still going, huh?
Yep. So hasn't shut that window yet.
We need a ding for the Hall of Famers, but not ding. Something else.
Wait.
We have it. No, ding is for the women. Ding dong is for the men.
Dong,
now we need.
Click. What's going on here?
I got a clicker. Hopefully nobody's dogs are.
Oh, we got a clicker. That works for now.
All right. On to the 4x6s, got some pretty cool stuff. This is space related. This is the scientist James Christie, and he discovered one of Pluto's moons. So there's a shot from the Hubble Space telescope. Of course, you got Pluto, and there's the little moon over there.
That's cool.
Sign 4. So a couple of those will go for autographs right here. This one is pretty awesome. You guys probably will never know the name Squire Friedel, but if you grew up in the 80s, he played Ronald McDonald.
Oh,
And if you can see there, this little drew like a little Ronald in his signature there.
I'm horrified.
This is what he actually looks like. He owns a winery.
Well, of course.
But he's got, I think, like 3,000 credits as Ronald McDonald from like 85 to 91 or something.
I think
a
Willard
creepy
Scott.
looking McDonald too.
Wasn't Willard Scott the other one?
I think he was the first one.
First one? Okay.
Yep.
Wasn't he the Maytag man too? Willard Scott?
Maybe. It seems
Maybe
like he was
one of
in
them.
that
Like the
line of work.
original.
Yeah.
He's like a news guy / personality guy. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Chase, for confirming this one, but I got on the Amy Sedaris bandwagon, Strangers with Candy, which was awesome. But most probably know this show, The Mandalorian.
Baby
Signed
Yodas.
it with the character inscription with the child.
You're gonna get that dual signed?
That is not Baby Yoda. Does Baby Yoda sign?
I don't know. Who did the voice?
You could get his handprint. Or...
The sculptor, I think. Doug Flutie. This one was out for 2 years. Randomly just showed up. Boston College, the Hail Mary.
Was that with the donation or you just sent it?
No, 2 years ago, just randomly sent and has been sitting out there forever. Dick Grouch. He is a Yankee scout, and he's the person who found or scouted Derek Jeter in high school. Here is the scout sheet. And Derek Jeter in 1995 was a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School, where he played against the Plainville Trojans, where I went.
Oh.
So we got to see Derek Jeter in his senior year, and he was
That's
awesome. Last one, big surprise, took a chance.
Whoa.
We got in Lance Armstrong.
Tell me he signed a needle. Tell me he signed a needle.
7-time Tour de France winner.
Wait, is
Sign-
he?
sign 3.
Did they take them back or?
They don't exist anymore,
I
right?
don't know.
Oh.
He might have gotten into some trouble. But
At one time, he was
Yeah.
a 7 times.
One time he did. That is it for me. Let's throw it over to Chase.
Alrighty. I'll start off with a little card here from Andy Summers sent me for my set. Got a Mike Sims. So, thank you, Andy.
Hey, mighty welcome.
I got in 4 from Mike Stanley. If I can hold them all up. There we go. And 3 from Rafael Palmeiro.
Nice. Hall of Famer. No, wait. Congress happened.
He should be in the Hall of Fame, but you know. And then
Sir Troy.
Everyone's gone
Mike
Primero,
asked
right?
if Baby Yoda signed. Yes, he does.
There you
That
go.
is John Rosengrant, who is the he works for Legacy Effects, and he's the one who, I guess, created or sculpted
Oh, nice.
Baby Yoda. So
And we'll be at every Comic-Con from here till the end of time.
probably there's my other one.
You know why he uses that pin? Because he signed so many dang pop figures that he just had it
Right.
lying around.
People didn't send them back; they just left them there.
Yep.
And then sticking with the Mandalorian theme, I got Misty Rosas, who was the person inside the costume for, what was that? I don't know how you pronounce that. Quill? Yeah, I don't know. So got
Do
that
not
one.
watch the show. You know, a
Oh,
fan.
I
real
watched the
fan.
show. I don't recall them really saying his name too much, but
Shame.
I've only watched it once. I need to watch it again, I guess.
Yeah, I
And
watched it.
there's-
I had no clue either.
The third one.
It was
then
like before the whole world went to crap. So, I mean, it's understandable. Memories fade. Other things fill the space.
Got some NASA in. Skylab 3, Jerry Carr.
Oh, Penn, come on.
Yeah, that's probably because he was signing these in pen, which came
Oh.
out great. But
Yeah.
now I'm going to be sending these off tomorrow to get the other guy.
Nice.
And then, let's see.
Hey, the nice thing about those two, if you get them dual signed and there's like one person that's passed away or something, you can do a matte piece.
True.
Can we go a show without talking about matte pieces? Like, come on.
It's kind of my
One
thing.
time.
It's
And
kind of my thing, man.
this one actually is from my son. It's Mike Mallory, Frogman, who went out whenever Apollo 11 came in. So we got one. And then this one, which kind of rubbed off a little bit, but still looks good. But one of the cool things about that is he wrote a 3-page handwritten letter to my son. So that was really
That
really
is awesome.
cool. And then the last one here that I sent off to Bill Snooty. I guess that's how you pronounce it. He's the aero rocket engineer guy that worked on like the engines for Apollo and Skylab and I think Explorer. But while it happened to be at his house, he also got Harry Reid to sign them as well. So there's a picture of them both,
Wow,
and it's signed by both of them.
that's cool.
And then he signed the NASA logo. Both of them signed it. And then we got the first day covers by both of them.
You know, I feel like that happened a lot more back in the day. You guys feel that way? That like somebody would get something signed if the other person was around?
Well, see, and he sent this little paper. I didn't send this, but I don't know if you can read it or not. Basically, he's just saying the same thing of he happened to be over at the house and he had him sign it. So
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
all right, Troy, what do you got?
Well, I have a few things here. So I don't have the number of days on a lot of these yet. So got the Chris Chambliss there on the 82 Fleer, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Hockey Sean Hill came in. And Danny Jansen, I think this might have been a spring training return from earlier this year. Marty Barrett.
You might want to hand sanitize if it's from spring training.
Yeah, really. Marty
burn it.
Barrett.
Just burn it all.
2 different returns, 2 different times from Steve Decker, so he must be getting his fan mail out. And a third from one of them. And then 2 of 2 from Tyrone Bogus.
Oh, that's bogus, bro. Oh. I
Or
have him in
Bogey.
my...
I don't know how you say that.
Muggsy
Um,
Bogues.
It's Muggsy Bogues.
Bogues.
Boogie.
But
Are you serious? Wait. You didn't know Muggsy Bogues?
No.
Dude, that's Muggsy Bogues, man. He went by Tyrone before he...
Did he?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
That's it.
I don't
Space
know.
Jam. Come on.
I worked on the website for Space Jam, but
Space-
I didn't.
You didn't know Muggsy Bogues?
You
That's
just
all
send
right.
to anyone you don't know. Jeez.
No. I
The
know
reason
these
I'm
numbers
upset is
move.
because I have him in mild mail day. And I was going to make a big
Oh.
deal about it. And now you're like, I don't even know who Muggsy Bogues is.
Can I say bogus instead?
Muggsy Bogues.
Sorry about that,
It's fine.
Muggsy.
Keep it, yeah.
It's a good one. You got a good return there.
Okay.
Space Jam.
Then here are the long ones. I got 2 of 2 from Christopher Knight in 1,606 days. So
Dude,
I haven't sent 8x10s in a long time. So, and that's the second one.
Hold the other one up there,
Everybody-
man. His face is too small on that one. He needs, and his face needs to be bigger on the 8x10. Don't you guys think? It's just a little too tiny. I can't see. I feel like he's looking into my soul, man. I've never seen an 8x10 with just head.
Just face.
Yeah, it's just face.
I think that was the Google Images one that I did. And so
Well, it's not on you. It's on
Zoomed right
him.
in.
I don't even remember when I got these. These must have been some old Arts Cow or something long time ago. And then I got 3 of 2 from Matt Hasselbeck. I know he has an 8x10 or a card up on Autographs for a Cure I saw earlier.
Old cards.
So his was 1,681 days.
Did you send to his
Then
house? Like, because his wife is very attractive and she was on Survivor.
I think so.
Okay.
And
noted.
then 2 different one-of-ones for Zane's favorite person, Paul Assenmacher.
Awesome. Jeez.
I'm
I
kidding.
thought I was bad.
I like that one was just for Zane.
Yeah. We made that joke before.
In 1,129 days. So those were my big ones that had come into my P.O. box in the last few months that I sent back in 2016, 2017. So pretty happy to get those back.
Nice.
Even if I can't pronounce bogus.
Bogus.
Actually, that one I sent in March, so that was a recent one. So
Oh, Muggsy, man. I mean, he's pretty popular in the NBA back in the day. Pretty popular player. Let's see. You want to shoot to somebody else?
let's go to Andy.
Oh,
Andy
okay.
Assenmacher.
That's my thanks. All right. All my returns, I am like all over the place because I've been catching up on all my RTSs that I got back. So I've been resending them out. So I get a plethora of different variety of stuff that came in. All right. Number 1, Jimmy Pritz Jr. Everyone loves the bowling cards. So for the set, he signed 3 of 3.
Wait, what year is the set? Because if it's a newer set, you might have a chance. But if it's an older set,
a lot of them are deceased. Unfortunately, you know,
you're gonna pay out
the world lost another bowler this week. Next, lost assess Sean Tobel.
What was that again?
Tobu.
Okay.
Let's see if
Just
it goes
making
that
sure.
way. He signed it weird. He signed it sideways a little, but he was the interrogator when Saeed was captured. Next, this one was out a while. I sent to her like 3 times, could never get her, but I got her this time. Miss Maud Adams from Octopussy. One of my favorite Bond movies. Next, couple of hockey success. Adam Graves. Now, I'm going to go in order because these are kind of interesting. The first one he personalized to me.
Hey, I like that set.
Next one, he just signed it Score, Adam Graves. Then he signed this one, Gravy Train, number 12. And then he signed this one, Adam Graves, number 9, 94 Stanley Cup champs. All in ballpoint pen. So they came out very beautiful.
Did he actually sign the Gravy Train or just put Gravy Train?
He just wrote Gravy Train.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
son, come over here. I got a job for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And never signed it, just wrote Gravy Train. I that's the fun part of this. You never know what the hell's going to show up.
Nope.
Next, Mike Bullard, the hockey success from Canada. So Canadian meal is still coming through. Another one from Canada, Perry Brazan, signed 3-3 from
Hey, those
Canada.
hockey names are tough, man. I'll give you a break on those.
And he sent my money that I sent for postage back, so he covered that. This is something I never do, but I said screw it. I sent Ray Shepard 6 cards, and he signed all 6. I don't like sending 6, but I felt brave that day and said I just want to get it done, so I don't have to ever send to him again. Now on to a couple of soccer. Stefan Furry, signed 101.
That's a nice signature.
Yeah, I think he's Dutch, I believe. I was reading up.
You
He's
don't
actually a
know?
citizen now.
You don't know his origin, his country origin?
Yes, I just said he's Dutch.
Call yourself a fan.
What I
You don't know
think.
for sure.
Does that mean everybody pays when you go out to dinner with them? Or?
Yeah. Chris Yelich, And he sent me a nice long note to. I got it right. I know it's Lelit. Never mind.
I thought you were going to show us Christian Yelich, and I was going to get on to you for
It's
mispronouncing
actually
his
an
name.
L. It's Larich.
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
Oops, just dropped that. Next, any Skid Row fans? I got David Sabo, signed 433.
How's that Chris Sabo working out for the set?
I ordered it through Under the Radar, so once the signing's complete, I will have it. Sent me a nice long note, and he sent me. Oh, by the way, he signed him just Snake.
Oh.
Really dark, but I guess that's his nickname because he sent me 6 picks with the name Snake on it.
Nice.
So 1, 2, 3 is 5 of us. So if anyone needs a snake pit,
Hey, don't offer that up, man, because like people are
I
going
got
crazy
plenty.
for rock and roll stuff right now.
fine.
Those 6 picks will be gone.
Yeah, hit me up. You can I can send you one.
I would not say that.
It's nice when you hear like you picked up the mail and you hear them rattling around. All right, 2 golf success. Scott McCarron signed 101, which is he signed right across his dark sweater vest.
Dare you not have a
And
silver pen, Scott?
Larry Maury signed 202.
That's a popular set to get signed.
It is, you know, I went through a bunch of old cards and I was surprised he was still alive. So I got those out.
You might be able to complete that set. If you look on eBay, they go for pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. I actually am. There's a lot of deceased guys in there, but I noticed you can pick them up.
You can.
Following the Troy Boy train, I got Steve Decker in 3-3, which was 2 years, which is standard for him.
Hey, Decker. Hey, Decker.
Aaron Mills signed 101.
That was a Becker joke, by the way.
Yes. Pirates manager Clint Hudler, which he always asked for a donation, but I sent him anyways. He signed 3-3. Couple more. Former Red Sox minor leaguer Mark Wagner. He tried to sign it in silver, his mighty MW that he just signed it. So I have he signed in silver pink pen. Then it ran, so he just signed in like a thin Sharpie over that.
So you got a dual signature there.
Yeah, it looks god ugly too. Next, independent baseball. We have a team a couple towns over, the Brockton Rocks. It's basically a collegiate team where the kids come in for the summer play. I mean, it's a great time for like $2 a ticket and $2 a beer or $1 draft night, which is always fun there. So these are from a couple of years ago. Took me a little bit of time to track him down, and he was very thankful that I actually found him with a nice letter back. Marvin Freeman signed 202.
Nice. That's cool. That's a cool card to get signed.
Yeah, I like that one. I sent to him a couple times, never got him, but now I see he's back signing. Next, football player, Mr. Phil Simms. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of him. Signed 3-3.
He's all right.
Couple more. AAF player, Reggie Northrup II, which this one smeared really bad because I think I didn't do anything before I sent it to him.
There's a thing you can do. It's called prepping. I don't know. You have to ask
I just started doing
some of the
it,
new
actually.
guys, some of the older guys know about
Yeah.
it. You can ask
But
them.
I don't think it was me. I think it was his pen because I think I did prep it. I think.
Where you going, Troy?
And it's
Nowhere,
pretty
I'm
bad
here.
that how I am that a guy that played for the AF, I sent it to 3 different addresses and finally came through. So I'm so glad I spent like $4 on Sam's trying to get them. All right, next, last 3. I started sending out some CD covers. I got Marky Ramone from the Ramones.
Nice.
Sent it. That one only took about 10 days, and he sent along a picture, like a postcard.
It's one of those bands that just keeps filling in people every time they die. Just like until it's like one guy left.
Well, I told him that was on my bucket list in high school to see the Ramones, and I got to see them in Lollapalooza in '96. Right,
Oh, cool.
That was their farewell tour, and I somewhat remember the show. Next, Matchbox 20 lead singer Rob Thomas.
Dang.
which I was actually very surprised I got him.
Yeah.
That was about 3 weeks. So I rolled the dice and just said, screw it.
Dang. Is that
So-
private, Eddie?
Yes, it was.
Dang.
I tracked it down myself.
Addy,
Dude.
Addy.
And lastly, I know Zane's going like, I got a book of Al Franken,
The Wangler himself.
which I had sent to him when he was in Congress, and they sent it back saying, senators don't sign books. Then I sent it to an address, RTS. Then I found him at another address.
Nice. Yeah, he ain't in Congress no more.
No. So he's back up on the stand-up tour, I think. But
yeah, he's got the what was that skit he did in SNL? It was the Reflections guy, or he was like, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and people
and gosh
like
darn
me.
it,
gosh darn it,
like
people
me.
like me." Yeah, that was it.
It's kind of funny because I actually said that to my son tonight.
There you go.
We
Big
were
fan.
just, yeah. So, but that should do it for me.
All right, does that leave me?
It
Yep.
does.
All righty. Well, time for my stuff. I got a lot. I'm gonna fly through it, guys. First off, no big deal. Moonwalker, Edgar Mitchell, signed book. Signed right. Oh gosh, dang it. Signed right there. You guys can kind of see him.
Gosh darn it, we can see it.
I know. Hey, you can see that one. Tom Landry, signed book. Best wishes. Coach of the Cowboys. Back in the day. Buzz Aldrin, signed limited edition. Signed and numbered on the limitation page. These are stuff I picked up from my store, obviously. So, right there. And we're going to move on to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to do these real fast. Got some card purchases I want to show you guys. So I picked up some stuff that's kind of sentimental to me, plus some people I remember when I was a kid, and just some great players that probably won't be in the Hall of Fame, but they were borderline. Darius Miles is actually from kind of around me. He's from East St. Louis. We used to go up there for speech tournaments and stuff back in the day. Damon Stoudemire, he was a beast back in the day. Joe Smith. I actually collected Joe Smith stuff for a long time, hoping he'd break back out. He was a number one pick, kind of underperformed. And when I was a kid, I collected, I think I had over 1,000 cards, hoping he would break back out, and it never happened. Grayson Allen, the A-hole from Duke. Had to pick that up. Quentin Richardson. A lot of people don't remember how good he was. He was a beast, too. Mm-hmm. Big Country, Bryant Reeves, one of my first basketball jerseys, as a big white guy. You know? He was a dorky looking dude. So was I. So here's Kenny Smith. Obviously, not really for his playing days, but NBA on TNT. Inside the NBA is like some of the best TV you can watch if you're a basketball fan. This is signed by Simon Cassianitis. He's an actor, but it's a 007 card. And I've noticed he's popped up in a lot of shows, so he might make it big one day. This guy was another beast, but had his problems off the court. Antoine Walker. And this is Isaiah Thomas. I think I picked all these up for, all of them were at least under $4 a piece, maybe $5. Like, I can't remember. Now here's where I got a little mad at Troy, because I got these in. I was going to make a whole spiel about them, but since I've already kind of busted it, can you guys guess where all these people are from? The answer is yes, you can. So here we have Tyrone Bogus.
It says Muggsy on it.
Oh, well, I must have misread it. Larry Johnson. We have Sean Bradley and Vlade Divac. So, of course, all those
Seems
guys
like somebody's missing.
Yeah, there's ones missing, the high price guys. So those guys are in Space Jam. Barkley and Ewing are the ones that, were missing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was going to guess they're all guys from Croatia.
No. Ewing and Barkley, like Ewing's like $150 a card for a cert, and then Barkley's like $100. So I passed on them for now, maybe down the line. And then Jordan's like, 2000.
Well,
So I'm going to pass on that one too for now. Moving on. This is Stan Musial's restaurant with, it's not faded, I promise, but yeah. He signed it right there on the front. And it's a menu from his restaurant. So really unique. Okay, now we're getting to the big boy stuff. The stuff I shouldn't just be hauling around, like dragging around here. This is a contract signed in 1980, and it's actually signed by Rodney Dangerfield in 2 places for his stand-up act. And I'm just going to show you one because I don't want to handle this too much. But, man, sorry about the glare, guys. There's one of the signatures right there. It's Blair. There you go. You can see it. That's just one of the signatures. There's another one in the back, but got that in. I'm probably going to cut it up. I'm a bad guy. I know, but I get to keep the contract and I get to sell 2 Rodney Dangerfield autographs matted. It's going to happen. I'm so sorry. Destroyer of History, Zane Savage. You can call me that from now on. Now we're going to move on to the biggest buy I've had in a while. Not price-wise what I spent, but what it's worth. His brother actually passed away, I think, this week or last week. And this is Das Pope Benedict. Signed. God dang it. I wish I would have adjusted my camera, guys. I apologize. Signed right there with a really cool inscription. So this is actually signed when he was Cardinal. So that's up on eBay for a lot of money. So if you're rich, go check it out. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys, and again, this is a lot of stuff, but I'm going to run through it real fast. Bought a book signed by several Hall of Famers, but the big Hall of Famers had already been cut out of it. It had some crazy names in there that I saw. It might even had a Ruth. I couldn't really tell because it was cut out. But the page it was on had like legends like Cy Young and Honus Wagner, and then like there were some cutouts. So I'm like, who was there? Ruth was missing. So I think Ruth might have been in there, but I can't be for sure. Anyways, so the giant signatures were cut out, but I still bought this for a really good price because the people didn't think about the players that weren't super famous, but they're worth a lot of money because they died early. It had over 100 signatures and comes with a JSA certification right here. So you know it's real. And got some crazy names. Got 2 Pepper Martins. I'm not going to go over all these. And that's some of the more notable players like Burley Grimes. Is that how you say it? Burley? Johnny Mize, dime a dozen. Anyways, that's not why I bought it. The Hall of Famers are nice, but they're not worth a lot of money. The reason I bought it is this stack right here. All rare signatures go for like $40 to $100 a piece. Guys you just can't find. Cap, Clark, guys like that. Again, I'd be here all day. Bill McGee. So this is from 1938. The book was published, and the book was signed in 1940. So some of the players didn't have articles in there, but they still signed around the team. Just a crazy piece of history. And guess what? I chopped it up. And now I'm going to make a lot of money from it. So, but I had to show you guys because it was so cool. I wish I could show you all of them, but we don't have the time. And I think that's it. Let's get moved on to the Market Watch. Finally, Mike.
All right, market report stuff that's selling on eBay this week. I try and base it around the show's topic. This week we're going to be talking historical autographs. First thing that popped in my mind when I heard history was presidents. Presidents of the United States, there's only been, 45 of them?
Yep.
So they go for a good amount. Here we have the great Jimmy Carter, signed a ton back in the day. This is JSA, $140. Somebody trying to jump the history gun here. Joe Biden, of course, he was the vice president, but could be a 46th president.
Yep.
This one I found very interesting. George Bush genuine sign, color 8x10. It's genuinely signed by his auto pen, but somebody ponied up $25 for it.
Genuine photo.
Yeah, it is nice. And Calvin Coolidge, if you can get historical documents from a president, those go for a good amount of money.
And watch those president signed documents, guys. Those are a lot of times printed or secretarial or auto pen. Like they did those a lot.
Yeah, it is rare, almost impossible to get a sitting president to sign something if you send it to him. But moving on, war stuff. I pulled up some Civil War stuff. Names you may never have heard. It's not always going to be, the big names in the history book. But if you can get something signed that is dated Civil War related, it can fetch a pretty penny. Here's just a couple, map pieces and find a photo, something signed, Civil War General Alvin Hoovey.
That's a horrible choice of a matte color. Just a heads up. Never pick that color.
There you go.
Baby blue.
Civil War Army of Atomics, a surgeon. All it is a signature. It's $125. You probably never heard of him. Most people wouldn't, but I can go for a decent amount. So anything war related. But when we talk about war, we always think the United States, because that's where most of us live, but it's not always U.S. history. It's world history. You got to think on a world stage. Search for something signed by Hitler or the Nazis. These are asking prices, but who, we've all been doing this. Did anybody write Roche Mish back in the day? Because I did.
You got that?
Yeah, I've got. He sent me like 6 photos, but he's Hitler's bodyguard, probably the last person to see him alive. It's a piece of history, but the 4x6s somebody wants $250.
And they got 11 watchers, dude. Okay, so you can also find mics up there soon.
Yeah, some people don't like it, but again, to me, it's a piece of history. These were people that they were there when history happened.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the serial killer argument a lot. So some people have moral objections to it, and that's okay for them to have moral objections to it. You don't have to write to those people. I would say if you can even pass judgment on the people that do a little bit, but it doesn't mean that those people are bad people necessarily. Some people just enjoy history and like to have a tangible piece of history that was touched by the good guys and the bad guys. And we'll talk about that later.
And if you want to pass judgment on me, I don't care. All right. So, it's all history. It's world history. We keep moving forward. Big issue right now, civil rights. How many people have heard of Roy Wilkins? Probably nobody, but NAACP, civil rights activists. There's a cool shot with Martin Luther King and John Kennedy. Map piece, $70. So it's not always, when you think of history, it's not always Martin Luther King. There were so many more people that didn't get the acclaim, and the press. Look up Roy Wilkins, see what he did for the civil rights.
Also, sometimes those people don't get as many autograph requests. Therefore, there's less of their signature, and they are noted in the history books. They're just not the main person. So the price can be up there sometimes. You'd be surprised.
Yep. Absolutely. Next one has nothing to do with civil rights, but it was on, for some reason, the same page. J. Edgar Hoover. So $70, best price or best offer accepted. So sign, again, somebody in politics, government, be careful with that because it could be an auto pen. Yeah. When I think of historical people in music, of course, the King, Elvis Presley, comes to mind. And then look at that. That's the same photo came up because Jimmy Carter and Elvis Presley.
That's some good tagging.
Yep. But, stuff, when you talk about the top tier of history and somebody in their industry, you're going to pay top dollar for their stuff. Just be careful. Here's $1,000 Elvis. I don't think it's with COA.
Yeah, with
Really?
COA,
Right.
quote
So-
unquote.
History, try and find the people that did something first. That's a good way to get in the history books. I can't think of the guy's name. He was the first.
right?
What's that?
Bluford? Was that
Mhm.
the last
Yeah,
name?
something like that. He was the first African American in space. Great signer, but no one can take that away from him. Just going down space. There you go. First edition, Buzz Aldrin, $99. About right.
Yep, for that book, yeah.
First person to touch moon rocks, Terry Schlesick. Most people have never heard of him, but again, first person to do something, no one can ever take that away from him.
Technically, didn't the astronauts touch the moon rocks?
Eh,
I'm just saying. Come on,
Well, he's
guys.
touching it
They had a glove
barehanded.
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
touching it without. Okay, without.
Yeah.
They should say without gloves.
yeah, there you go.
So he was the guinea pig.
Yeah.
They were like,
He's
hey,
probably not
somebody
with
touch
us
that
anymore,
rock.
but-
Hey, somebody go touch that. See what
If it would have
happens.
went badly, they'd be like, "This guy never existed."
Yeah, died of radiation poisoning, but whatever. Moving on, this is one that I'm very familiar with. Of course, the Kennedy assassination, everyone knows what happened in 1963, but there's a lot of people that are associated with the events that sign. Robert Davidson, you've probably never heard of him, witness. Alan Childs, Parkland Hospital, The Lady in Red, Jean Hill, of course, from the Zapruder films and stuff like that. And then, of course, you got Robert Kennedy and all the people associated with that assassination also. So it's not always the people in history that take the headlines. Speaking of space, sometimes, like you said, in 63, Kennedy assassination for us in the 80s, it was a Challenger disaster. And of course, when disasters happen, that jacks up the price. So anything associated with the Challenger astronauts, if you have them signed.
That's not even real. That's a preprint. That's like their auto pen version. And people know that. But just the auto pen version alone is going for $220.
Yeah.
Unless that person that bought it thought it was real. But I don't think. I think most space people know that those auto pens were super prevalent. So I think that's just a rare auto pen photo.
Yeah. Challenger stuff, when you get a tragic event, of course, that's price is going to go up. And for this generation, we're talking about 9/11. That's the big event. But again, most of these people sign. I think I have all these in my collection. Thomas Franklin is the photographer that took this famous photo. Bob Beckworth was actually the retired firefighter who snuck on and got his picture taken, appeared on Time magazine. Pasquale Bellizzi was one of the survivors, and I think I was one of the first people to get this signed with the inscription. I got a letter from him, but Andy Card whispered, the planes attacked, or the Trade Center was being attacked, and I've got that same inscription. So
Be a good map piece.
No.
With a bush.
No. Leave it
Think
alone.
about it. And hey, so Bush on 9/11. So you have two main people, obviously. You have Bush, who has saturated the market with his book plates, and then you have Osama bin Laden, who's almost impossible to get. So on Bush, obviously the market's saturated, but if you have Bush with something related to 9/11, that could almost double the price probably. According with bin Laden, if you had something bin Laden, that would probably be insane amounts of money just due to the rarity. You'd probably get the same amount of crap for selling it too, but that's when we're talking about history here, guys. The rare stuff, the big names with these big historical events that are rare, you're talking about the most amount of money possible for autographs. That's what you're talking about. You're talking Steve Jobs, like that kind of stuff.
And last one, speaking of bin Laden,
Good lead-in.
of course. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Transition.
Yeah.
Robert O'Neill is the Navy SEAL who claims he took the fatal shots that killed bin Laden, and he's signed a bunch of stuff, and it's pricey. I'd love to have one. But you got some matte pieces framed up, a solo picture, and then of course the 10 most wanted. Go low end $200, high end 500. So,
And if you're buying stuff like this, watch out for fakes. Like, is some of the most faked autographs I've seen are famous military people, especially modern day. Chris Kyle was one of the worst I've seen forged.
the
Like,
sniper.
yeah, the American Sniper. So like, literally 60, like to 65% of the stuff I saw was fake out there because he died young.
I think that's a good advice. If you're buying historical stuff, just be careful because look at the market. It brings in big money, and forgers recognize that. And you can turn around real quick. I'll just share the screen. If you look at Robert O'Neill's signature, I mean, there's not much to it.
Yeah.
So a couple lines. It wouldn't be tough to throw a few of those on a photo, throw them up on eBay for $150 and say, oh, having a sale, and next thing you know, you're making $900 easy.
I think you get a lot of guttural buys too, people that see something for cheap and they have that just guttural reaction of history, I want it, boom. And like, you have a lot of older folks buying historical stuff too. It's just a market that's rife with forgeries, and they don't get called on it a lot. Sports figures troll eBay, and they'll report stuff. Hey, this isn't my signature. These military guys aren't trolling eBay looking for their signature. It's really a problem. So be safe, guys, when you're buying autographs.
Isn't Mark Hamill really known for that too? Calling out people?
Yeah,
maybe.
Used to be.
Yeah, you can actually, if you're a celebrity, they used to have a program that worked with celebrities to weed out fakes, so they could get on there and just send in reports of stuff that's fake.
Yeah, Hamill had people tweet him their autographs to see if they were real or not.
That's cool.
And companies that have exclusive, like Fanatics, they'll look for their clients, and if you're posting stuff that is fake, they'll report eBay and it will be taken down.
Yep, that's good. The less fakes out there, the better. Okay, great segment. We're gonna move on to Via Vineyard Report. What do you got, Chase?
Well, there's this little thing out there called the pandemic, so there's not a whole. Seems like the same thing every show, right?
Yeah, it's going strong too. So
yes, so there's not a whole lot of in-person via venue, so via private signings. I highly recommend going Facebook. Baseball private signings, there's celebrity private signings, football private signings, all groups that you can get into. The few of them that popped up recently: Doc Gooden, George Foster, Jose Canseco, Larry Sheets, Tom Herr. I mean, these are all guys that been around and are doing some signings. Also, if you're a Goonies fan, there's a Goonies signing out there right now, so you can get your truffle shuffle on.
Yeah, if you got the money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Great stuff. We're going to move on to the topic, which we hit on always in Market Watch. We try to link those two together, and that's historical autographs. We're talking about people. The way I'm looking at it is, whenever you were in 7th grade or 8th grade, you had your pretty in-depth history book. That's the grade I remember, kind of going through generic history, not specialized in one area, and who's in that book. Whenever you talk about the 60s, who do you talk about? Whenever you talk about the 50s, who do you talk about? So that's what I have in my mind when I think about historical figures. And those people tend to bring the most money. Now, we talked about market saturation affecting it too, but we're kind of going to talk about how you identify those people, along with maybe who's on the rise and who's going to be historic figures of today. Whenever we look 20, 30 years from now, who's going to be in the books. First, we're going to talk about good and bad, and we touched on this a little bit too. There's good people and there's bad people, and sometimes there's opinion involved, but they're still in the history books, and people collect history, and Hitler is obviously the main guy, right? That's what everybody talks about, is the bad guy, but some people will have their autograph in the collection and some people won't. We're including those bad people, and we're not, from here on out, after this little mini segment, when we start naming names, we're not going to mention good or bad. We're just going to mention names because we don't want to get into any political arguments on an autograph show. This is our place to get away from everything and have fun, guys. But so there's good people and bad people. We just want to put that out there first, just so you don't think that all the people that we mention like next are going to be like figures in history that are great. There's some controversial people in the middle, bad people, good people. So what are some indicators that somebody is on the rise to possibly be in the history books? And this is interesting because as a TTMer that is more of an investor, because there's different kinds of TTMers, and there's definitely TTMers that try to gear their stuff toward, okay, what's going to be worth the most money and have the most historical value down the line? How am I going to make my collection amazing? And the key to that is getting to people before they blow up, before they're gigantic and impossible to get. So in certain places, you have like lines of succession, like you have papacy, like the Pope. I have the Pope autograph, right? Well, he didn't sign that when he was Pope. He signed it when he was, I believe, a cardinal. So one way of doing it would be write to a bunch of cardinals, write to a bunch of cardinals that are in line to become Pope, and you have a good chance of maybe having a Pope signature down the line, or a couple. So line of descent, so you can see people in line to eventually get to that position. Vice president, a senator that's probably going to run for president or become a vice president. That's another one. Load up on those people. And eventually you might have a presidential signature just laying around, 8 to 10 years from now. So that's definitely one way to look at it. You guys got any other little tricks for maybe finding somebody that's going to be a historical figure before they're famous?
I think you just got to keep an eye on the news. Like somebody that comes to mind, if like Meghan Markle, like she's not going to sign, she can't sign, or she might be able to now, but royals do not sign autographs, period.
Right.
But if you pay attention to the news, and she was dating Prince Harry, but she was still doing, I think it was Suits, the show.
Right.
If you could have got her, that's going to fetch a pretty penny right now.
Right.
But now that window's closed. So you have to pay attention, and you kind of have to forecast a little bit and say, okay, this person might do something. But with saying that, when you brought up like people that could run for president, you're going to get some duds too, because the one that comes to mind is what is that, Harry Dean?
That's, what's his name?
Is it
No,
Howard?
no.
Howard Dean. He was in line to get in the White House, and all of a sudden and
Hey, Joe Exotic, he ran for president as well.
Oh, there you go.
That's true. And actually, that's a good example because he ran in 2016. So if you saw that, I mean, you wouldn't think he would be an influential historical figure, granted. But if you would have wrote to him back then, you could have had, and he signed a bunch of stuff for you, you could have made a buttload during this craze. Now, that would have been totally random. There's no way to predict that they're going to make a documentary about him. But so that's a good point. You're going to have a lot of duds, but they're not going to really be duds. If you're doing TTMing, it's, an autograph for $1, so a little more than $1.10 or whatever. So you're sending out something for $1.10. You might get something back signed, and the guy may be a dud, and it's probably going to be worth more than $1, to be honest, if they're a senator or something like that. If you're talking about the presidency. But just to have that chance of having a president already, like they're in office. Now, be careful. Don't write on campaigns, guys. Don't write to campaigns. You'll almost always get an auto pen or some kind of preprint. That they're notorious for that. But you have to write them, and probably before they're a senator, to be honest. Like once they're a senator, like there's only 50 of them in the United States. That window's kind of flied. Unless you like get them somewhere, like, can you even write to people if they're visiting somewhere? Like, I don't know if like they go to a state park to do a speech or something. Maybe you could send it via venue or something like that. But anything other than that, you're gonna get the secretary or auto pen like automatically. The representatives are a lot more accessible. So if they're a representative, you have a better chance. But you got to get them before they're big. If you want those big names, they just blow up, and then the mailbox is flooded with requests, and you're not going to get anything.
Or catch them in between too. Joe Biden was vice president. You're not going to get him in office. But once he left office, he was out of the political race for a while and signed.
Yep.
But now, good luck.
Yeah, I actually sold 3 signed books over the last year because I didn't think he had a shot to get the nomination. Now I'm like, no. Those weren't TTM though; those were purchases. To be fair, but and that's another way of going about this. Though we don't have to just talk about TTM. Buying people while they're down a little bit when they have a chance to go back up. That's actually a pretty good little plan. You wouldn't have been hurt buying Joe Biden at $20-$30, a few months ago when it didn't look like he was going to get it. It's still worth about that. So if you put the money in, you're not losing money. You're just holding on to the money in that product. So making those little bets when it comes to people kind of down on their luck, that could pay off sometimes because sometimes they somehow make their way out of it. I don't know. Don't ask me how, but sometimes they make their way out of it. Yeah, so you just got to get them on the when they're not at their peak, because you're not going to get them at their peak. I'm sure if you wrote to Elon Musk back when he was with like PayPal and moving away from PayPal, even, I'm sure he probably signed autographs a bit. Don't you think? Or maybe he was the kind of guy who wouldn't. But if you had one of those now, Musk's signatures are like one of the most sought after autographs. Mm-hmm. You're talking thousands of dollars. You're talking like Steve Jobs money. Like he's up there with Steve Jobs right now, and like how much his autograph is worth. I don't know. It's crazy, man. You can't be 100% sure, so you kind of have to lay the groundwork of buying a lot of smaller, hopeful autographs, and one of them might blossom to become a historic autograph. Let's move on to how do you approach the letter. So there's 2 segments here, I guess, in this, because you have the people who are a little tedious on the history or bad people in history, like the serial killers, the people who are on the wrong side of war, stuff like that. And then you have the people who are heroes and are looked up to in society. Obviously, the people, we've talked about this before too, the people that are on the bad side, you don't really want to say, I'm a big fan of your work. Probably not the best thing to put in your letter. Change up the form letter, folks. Don't just send the same form letter to Charles Manson.
Dear Charlie, I'm a big fan of
exactly
of your work.
I mean, technically, you could be talking about his music, I guess, but
his art.
Yeah, his art. But make sure your letter is appropriate for what you send. But do you think you can be, whenever you're writing to people who are like in politics and like, military, people that are in power, could be in power soon, papacy, like cardinals and stuff. Do you change it up, or you send the same old form letter,
Well, the way I look at it is if you're writing to someone who's bad, I mean, they already did it. You're not like planning ahead going, yeah, I'm going to write to this guy because someday he might become a serial killer.
That's true.
That's the tricky part, because the only time you ever hear them doing something bad is when they're in the news and they already became that famous.
You seen that kid down the street with all the cats' tails hanging from his
right?
Hey, Jeffrey Dahmer, are you going to be famous someday?
I got one for you, Andy, though. What if the serial killer, admitted to it and all that stuff, or maybe didn't admit to it, is in prison and gets a documentary released on him on Netflix? Then the price of the autograph skyrockets. So,
like
in that
how
case,
to make a murder or whatever.
Yeah, how to make a murder. Perfect example. So then, the person is he hasn't admitted anything. But if you wrote to him, got his autograph before all that went down, then you are talking about exponential amounts of fame, and it's worth
making
a lot more
of a
money
murderer. But
after the documentary.
But again, like my thing is, I wouldn't have never heard of him until the documentary.
That's the thing, though. You gotta get them.
That's the tricky thing.
That's the tricky part. Yeah, that's the part you got to figure out. But see, I don't know how it would be to write to a bunch of murderers. You're probably get on a list. If you're going to write to a bunch of murderers, you're probably going to get on a list. I'm not going to lie.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, especially if they're all in the same prison.
I wrote to this murderer. I hope they find 10 more bodies that he did, because it's going to skyrocket from
You just have to hope for a documentary. That's all you got to hope for. I'm sure there's people. I can almost guarantee there's people that do that. That have wrote to a bunch. Go ahead.
There's a guy I've been trying to track down. His name is James Files, and and he's done a bunch of interviews from prison. He's been since released, but he claims he was the shooter from the grassy knoll. So
really?
yeah, like he gives details, and some people believe him, some don't. Some think he's a crackpot, but I've tried to track him down about 5 different addresses, but I'm not like, oh, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But I do, I'm honest. I'm like, I've written to, hundreds of people associated with that. I'm like, I'm not a fame chaser. I'm like, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not going to promote this, but I'm like, but I'd like to have something. If you did it, say you did it. I want him to say I shot JFK. So if it comes out, he did it, I have something.
Yep.
See, it's something
I
like
have
that.
no
You
idea what a
just
map piece is.
You stroke his ego and go, you know what? I believe your story. I think you are really it.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only way to approach that, though.
Mike, you don't have to find him. He'll find you.
He might with the restraining order, but whatever.
Yeah, so be careful, obviously, with the more seedy side of history, guys. Make sure your letters are appropriate, and don't send to a bunch of shady people at once, or you will be on a list. But yeah, let's say the heroes. Do you guys change anything for that? You kind of just boost their ego and say, I'll look forward to what you're going to do in the future, because technically these people haven't made it to the top. You're talking about like writing to a cardinal. What do you say to a cardinal? You say, because you can't, again, big fan of your work. It's not really going to work unless they're an author. But.
Or what do you say? I know there's a whole forum on Star Tiger, and I know Caleb does a lot of veterans and stuff like that. But if you're only writing to any living World War II veteran, what do you just say? Thank you for your service. Could I get
I collect history. That's the only thing I could think of.
If they're not famous at all, just writing to any survivor of, obviously the Titanic would have been something different, because that would have been
there's a lot of people that do Medal of Honor winners.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Pearl Harbor, the survivors of Pearl Harbor, you obviously have to word whatever you write to these people differently because what they've gone through. Another, person that comes to mind also, Clint Hill. A lot of people wrote to Clint Hill. And if you don't know who Clint Hill is, he was the Secret Service member that jumped on Kennedy's limo. I can't imagine what he saw, but he's got to relive it every time somebody writes to him, because, they're like, I saw the Zapruder film. And he's like, here's your autograph. So just be mindful of what somebody in history, on the other side of it has gone through. I've written to a lot of people associated with 9/11 too, just because it was such a historic event. But it does cross my mind that these people have to kind of relive that when they open up something, and there's a photo of the Twin Towers. The two I'm thinking off the top of my head, and the 2 guys that they made the movie about that they pulled out that work for the Port Authority. So
yeah, and it's one of those things, like we always say, be as detailed as possible in a letter. That's one of those cases where probably being detailed is not a great thing. Like, keep it as simple as possible, to the point, but yet super polite. So in those cases of like events that are not great to relive, keep it simple. Don't go into detail of, oh yeah, I saw where this and this and this happened, because you could trigger some memory or something. Just be very careful, especially like with the veterans and stuff like that. I know that's I've always heard about that, like triggering certain things, certain sounds and stuff. You don't want to do any of that through a letter.
See, I just a quick thing. I had mixed things with that, because with the splashdown in the Hudson, I got Sully Sullenberg, the captain that was piloting the plane, signed, no problem. I sent to a couple of the stewardesses and never heard back. Because it was mostly, the movie's mostly based on him.
Right.
His heroic part of making, everyone surviving.
Right.
But then I was kind of iffy on the stewardesses, and I'm like, let me try. I just never got. I
Just
think
never
I
got
sent the
anything
two
back,
of them,
huh?
and I'm like, the stewardesses on a plane that went down. It's just
Yeah, because I mean, at that
that was
moment,
a tricky one.
You think, I mean, what was like that? That's probably one of the worst things I've ever gone through. So yeah. That's tough.
And you got to remember, like, these people that are associated with history, a lot of them are real people. They're not celebrities. So
Right.
when you write to them, you're not writing a fan mail to somebody that's used to getting fan mail either. Because I've gotten a couple of responses, like I've never gotten, somebody asking for my autograph before. They'd gladly sign. A couple people with the Kennedy assassination, but just remember they're just real people that were, part of history.
There's also no buffer. So you're sending straight to the person. Sometimes with these bigger people, you have buffers where you won't, if it's something weird, they won't get to them. That's not the case in a lot of these, because like you said, they're not a celebrity. They're just somebody that lives through history. So just be careful on your letters. Be nice. Behave yourselves. And who do you guys think now is going to go down as, let's look back at the 2020s and see who the big names were in the history books. So this is like 2050, let's say. And I wrote a book about this decade. You can even go back a few years if you want. I would say Fauci's one. Fauci's going to be in there because this is a gigantic. I mean, this pandemic thing is a gigantic ordeal that has affected everything. And he's one of the guys that pops in my head as one of the most notable figures for that. At least here in the United States. I'm sure in other countries they have Fauci-like figures. And I'm sure maybe in China there's even a bigger figure than Fauci. But that's one that pops in my head. Musk pops in my head just due to all the stuff that he started with business.
Right.
You guys think of any others? I know you brought up some, Andy.
That I sent to all the women that they narrowed the list down to who was going to be the first woman on the moon. I think there was like 13 of them or 12 of them. And I sent to most of them, I believe. I haven't heard back yet. But I had sent to, once they announced the two guys that were going to be on the SpaceX first in the capsule going up, I had sent to them. I never got them back.
Yeah. So you probably were a little too late, even though you sent early. So that just shows you how early you have to be.
Well, we were just talking. I looked. It was last April of 2019 I sent to them.
Right.
So a good year before they even went up.
Right. So sometimes that's not even good enough. I mean, like, you never know. I mean, you got to shoot your shot, though. It's $1.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Shoot your shot. You never know. And did they do a pool like they did for the women? Was it like they narrowed it down to 10? Because if you would have sent to those 10 or 12 people, you might have got those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they had it down to 4, and I sent to the 4.
Oh, you sent to the 4.
Yeah, I think it was the 2 main. Well, I think they had 2 main, then 2 backups,
Gotcha.
Just in case. So I sent to all 4, just in case one didn't make it up or got sick or whatever, and they had to replace them.
Right.
Covering all the bases on that one, but I'm hoping to get the women back, but I'm not really
we'll see.
thinking they are.
You never know. You never know. So technology, inventions are another big thing. A lot of people don't think about those, but inventions change the way we live our lives. I think the inventor of the cell phone, is he still alive? I don't remember. I was looking at some inventors the other day for my business. And I think if he's not alive, he lived into his 90s and signed pretty well. Those people increase in value exponentially, especially when they pass away. But the inventor of the wireless cell phone may not be super famous now, but that's a person that's going to be probably in the history textbooks 30 years from now, because that's a big milestone in the way we communicate is the cell phone. So that's kind of, even though those people may not be around now, that's something you should look for, even if they're gone, because in the long run, things look a lot differently than they do, looking at history directly in the face right now. In the long run, you can see the big transitions happen at a starting point usually. And if you can pinpoint that starting point, you usually have a pretty good historical figure on your hands worth money. Let's see. Who else? You guys think of any other big figures of today?
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think
Trump's going to be one.
Yeah, in politics, AOC
Mhm.
AOC is going to be one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I
good
think
one.
she's going to stick around for a while.
Yep.
But again, like you said, excuse me, if you have an event like COVID-19, if you hear of a certain doctor that
Yeah.
has a breakthrough,
Jump on it.
jump on that right away. Because
Yeah.
even
Even
if you,
researching now, maybe even like
yeah,
people close to it. I mean,
So,
like, wouldn't
so
hurt.
tell the truth. Do you have the molecule printed out on 4x6s to send, like ready to go?
That'd be the way to do it, right?
yeah,
Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay. No one's fessing up. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Like, maybe those doctors are quarantining themselves. I don't know. Like, since they're messing around with the virus, I don't know how that works, and I don't know if mail would even get through if they were quarantining themselves, or at least quarantining themselves with a group of people working on something. So I don't know the logistics behind that. So maybe there's no way for anything to get in to them. I don't know. But you got to think weird stuff like that. If you really want to be on the edge of getting somebody before they're big, you really got to think outside the box. It's just not going to fall in your lap. That's not going to happen.
yeah. I mean, just think back, like when Apple, you have Jobs and Wozniak sitting in a garage. You got to think, maybe I'll get something signed by these two idiots out there doing something.
Well,
and
the
look
Apple
at it now.
One, the
Yeah.
Apple One, right? It's the first personal computer, and then there was articles written on that. So if you would have saw that in the paper, that would have been your chance. Like Apple One, I'm gonna send to these guys. These guys just created the first personal computer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, but nobody at the time, everybody's like, computers are for business. Like that's not gonna become a thing. So you would have to almost have.
Hey,
ahead.
I found a guy that's selling books out of his garage on a website called Amazon.
Yeah.
I
No,
sent to him a
that's-
little bit early in his career.
Yep. And those are like betting on tech guys usually is a pretty good one. Like you're not going to strike out a lot. And the ones you do strike out on, sometimes they're such big failures that they're still got a name hooked to them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had I don't know, like the CEO of flowers.com, that's still going to be worth some money. It's not worthless. Like was Flower. I'm trying to think of some of the 90s busts that have, or the 2000.com bust. What are some of the big
MySpace?
ones?
Pets.
MySpace, Tom.
No, Tom.
You know, if you wrote to Tom, okay, you spent $1, you got Tom back. Okay, Tom's not relevant anymore, but it's still a lot of people remember MySpace. You know, these tech giants that go away, people still remember those. They may not be the most powerful person or the worth the most money, but they're still worth money. You're not wasting money.
I mean, who's that? There was a pair that they were the first .com that went public. And it skyrocketed. Then it just completely that caused the bubble that made them just basically go from 500 million years to zero,
right?
Like basically overnight,
right? And
what the web was.
And those guys might be cool to write to now to kind of get some story if they'd write back, and that would be a unique piece because a lot of people may not have it. That's kind of post history. Like we could even talk about. We might talk about that in their show because we're running long. But almost post history where you see something that happened and it went away. It was such a flash in the pan, but it was very big for a moment, and a lot of people are going to remember that. That's interesting. We could talk about post history autographs.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw one out there, I could just right off the top of my head think of Kazoo Boy. I mean, that would be the perfect one.
Hey.
Historic.
He's my special friend. I keep it right here.
That was amazing. All right, guys, we'll move on because I think we beat the subject into the ground. But if you guys have any ideas of who may be the next big historical figure, let us know. I think Fauci's probably a little too late. I mean, he may still sign. I don't know, but he's probably screening his mail pretty hardcore right now. Once they get into the main public eye, it's tough to get. Let's move on to the giveaway winner. We gave away the alumni signed NFL football signed by 20 or 30 players. I think it was maybe 20-something players. And the winner of that is Rob P. Congratulations, Rob P. You have won the football. That'll get sent to you ASAP, along with I actually had some Autographers Anonymous stickers made, so you'll get one of those too. All right, we have our new giveaway, guys. The new giveaway is for, wait for it, some Autographers Anonymous swag. Basically, we have a photo signed by all the guys, and this
And
ghost.
Stacey
I don't know who
Schaefer.
that guy is. We're trying to get him back on, guys.
He
Message
looks
him.
kind
Be
of
like, "Stacey-"
ghosted. He's
Huh?
kind of ghosted there.
Yeah, he's
Looks
totally
kind of
ghosted,
ghosted.
man. Well, message Stacy and tell him to get
You
back
make
on
it
the show.
almost a 4x6 if you cut him off there.
Yeah,
The-
that's true. It'd
the-
be like no.
The ghost even scared Chase. Chase, where'd you
Stacy
go?
co-founded the show, guys. But seriously, message him and be like, Stacy, get back on the show. So this
We
is
could
an 8x10.
chop that up to a matte piece. Come on.
That's, we ain't
Do
doing
that.
that, guys. Come on, be nice to Stacy. So this is an 8x10
That's a great
signed
price.
by the whole gang, hand signed. So you can choose this, or you can pick a card set.
There he is again.
There he is again, man. he's on everything. So this is the top set, and it's actually signed by the whole gang. And some of these pictures aren't the most flattering, but they're of us on the show. So
Oh, who's the fat guy?
yeah, that's Troy's costume. He's now a lot thinner. So you get to pick which one you want, guys, and all you have to do is go to our website, graphersaa.com. That's graphersaa.com. Go there and answer this question. Who is the one living autograph that you think will be a historic figure in the future? So something you have in your collection that has really good potential to be down in the history books 30 years from now. Answer that question, and you'll be entered to win. All right, now for the case against.
The case against.
And I think this will be a quick one. Dick Van Dyke.
All right, the case against Richard Michael Van Dyke, Dick for short.
The Dickster.
The Dickster. All right. What I started off here with is our friend's PSA DNA certified, or so they say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a pretty good example. Dick Van Dyke signed index card, authentic. A couple things to note here. Notice the slant. Leans a little bit to the right here. Pretty sloppy. I got the Dick part here, V, Van, kind of A there. On the Dyke, look at the little tail here, looping. Next, Beckett. This is a nice signed photo. There's Mr. Van Dyke there. Again, slant to the right, really sloppy. I'm guessing this is the Dick part. Van might be here with the A, but again, here is the looping Y that ends in Van Dyke.
A more
That
modern
is our-
signature.
Huh?
A more modern signature, closer to what he's doing now.
A little older. That is our friends at Beckett who has decided that one is authentic. And last one, JSA has decided that this Mary Poppins book is authentic. There's the JSA sticker. Now again, take it for what it is. Those can be faked, and they do make mistakes. If you look at the first two, PSA and Beckett, pretty standard characteristics on that. This one, a little different. The D here in the Dick.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's weird.
Little loop there, but again, sloppy. Here's the V, Van. But again, on the Dyke, there's the characteristic on the Y. So those are all certified. They've all looked at them and said, hey, yep, okay, we decided those are authentic. Now let's get into this one. This one is this one is not certified. This is a Mary Poppins print. God bless.
It's sad that you had to look.
Well, I've got two slides. That's why I looked. God bless Dick Van Dyke. Wow, that is a clean looking autograph.
It's beautiful. And it's a God bless. So God bless us. Keep your eye out for those.
God bless. Very God bless. Clean. Oh, look, Van
Mhm.
Dyke.
Strong.
Wow. You can read everything, Dick Van Dyke.
Perfectly.
And notice the Y here, no looping their tail at the end. This is the one that is limited edition, same kind of print, Mary Poppins. Do those look the same? No.
Hell no.
This is not certified, but this is a limited edition print. They blew it up here. Ooh, Julie Andrews, that's nice.
Yeah.
But Dick Van Dyke, look at this messy Dick. we're just gonna roll with it because I've said D and Dick and just whatever. But anyways, Van here, Dyke on the end. Look at that, looping, no tail, doesn't curl back in.
Yep.
All right, this one.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My eyes.
Didn't even try on the D here. Van is written out kind of, and the Dyke, no looping. That's just
That's like a forgery or a blind secretary.
yeah. So here's a wow. That's beautiful handwriting for
Oh,
Dick
yeah.
Van Dyke.
God bless. God bless.
God bless. Look at that. Oh, look, Van separated. Beautiful. At least they put the loop in. They tried on this one, but again, very clean. You can read the entire signature. God bless. Very, very feminine handwriting. Last one here. I want to pull this. Same photo, very different signatures. This is a TTM that was posted on one of the sites. I removed it for legal reasons, whatever. But I think this was TTM in either 2000 or late 2019. Definitely not the same handwriting, but when you look at the characteristics, nothing looking like this one.
Unless it's a deterioration, but it's still
very, very well could be. But what I think is going on here, like I said, his certified stuff has the slant to the right, every letter, and the loop on Dyke on the certified stuff. Even with this one, I don't know what's going on with the front, but slants to the right and the loop on the end. Here, this one, I think this is either his wife or secretary. Very feminine, God bless, written out, Dick Van Dyke with the Y coming up. Again, if you can get it something certified, awesome. If you get one of these Garbo thingies, yikes. But again, God bless. 3 separate names, Dick Van Dyke. I think you're in trouble. And this one, I think, is possibly his wife or secretary who is signing stuff in an older age. Like I said, I think when you look at these are early on secretarials. And then when you get here, like I said, this is the most recent one. I just wanted to pull this up because it's the same photo. Definitely not the same person, but I don't think it is Mr. Van Dyke.
I will add clarity to the wife thing. I did some research on his wife's signature and her handwriting. I just don't see the similarities enough in the wife's signature to think it's his wife. I think it was a secretary, but that trick did work for a while where you send to him and ask his wife to sign a photo, and then he would sign with his actual wife. Like those would get forwarded to them. So there was a lot of speculation that it was maybe his wife signing. Her handwriting is just not. It just doesn't match. Like it's a little messy, and what we've seen from the secretarials is not messy. If anything, it's like dating, kind of like perfect. And
I think we can all agree that these signatures are very female in handwriting, though. Very
Right.
clean and just very loopy.
Yeah.
Definitely not something that's written, I think, by Mr. Van Dyke.
Right. Yeah. So another one of the tells that I saw was the actual C kind of looks like an R in a lot of his signatures. If you go back and look, his authentic ones, it's almost always got a notch on the C that makes it look like an R. Even on the messy ones, you can kind of see it. See that right there. Yeah. So you look for that too, along with the ones you mentioned were good ones too. So those are not present on the TTMs. They're straight up C's, no notch. So, and like I said, I think it's obvious those the old ones are secretarial, and I don't think his wife signed them, but who knows? She could have changed her handwriting totally for her actual signature. It's not likely. The new ones are interesting. I mean, like, I don't think they're real at all. I think it's probably like 80% not him, but there's still like 20% chance that he's just, he's so old. I mean, how old is he now?
94.
94?
Wow.
That's crazy old. So once you get to that age, you just are happy to get anything on the paper. But I just don't think he's signing his mail after all this time, having a secretary do it. I don't see him signing his own mail. I think you're right. It's probably secretary just basically trying to get closer to a signature and failing. That's a lot more likely. The signs are there, guys. Van Dyke has been secretarial for a long time. You've been able to get him through that wife trick, but that was pretty much it. Books he might have signed, but I've actually seen secretarial signed books, which, oh man, that's kind of rare. Like usually if you send a book, you get past the secretary, but not with Van Dyke. There are secretary signed books out there. And that's my opinion. Anybody else want to chime in on their opinion? I may be wrong.
Well, I just have to. I agree that all the ones for many, many years are secretarial, and it's really hard, especially on Instagram, when you see someone excited they got Dick Van Dyke back. You think that everybody must know it by now. Nope. And you still get people, posting it and people saying, "Wow, that's great." And I'm just like, I'm not one to call. There's people that ruin the fun and call people out. I'm just like,
right. Yeah, maybe even had a few more less likes than the other ones, maybe.
I just don't like it because I'm just like, I can't.
It's a touchy subject for people to call other people out because it's one of those things you don't want to be mean and you don't know what to say. Usually, just what we do usually is not comment, or if it's a buddy of ours, we'll message the person and be like, "Hey, there's some evidence that this may not be real. You might want to look into it," or something like that.
And with a lot of the cases against that we do, they're not that common,
right?
Like they're not. But Dick Van Dyke is like, if there's any one person that's secretarial by now.
Yeah, by now. You'd be surprised. Back in the day, it was not common. Like people still thought it was legit for a long time. And Mike, you didn't even mention the PSAs that have PSAs certified several secretarial signatures. So they obviously have a tainted database over at PSA. They're using again. And we don't mean to throw PSA under the bus so many, every time we do this, I feel like we're throwing PSA under the bus. We use them because they're the industry standard. They're number one. So, if we're going to go after somebody, that's who we're going to look at as the standard. Mm-hmm. So that's why they get caught up in this every single time we do it because, they're expected to be the best. So we have to hold them somewhat accountable for that. There are a lot of PSA certified Van Dykes out there. And with Van Dykes come Mary Tyler Moore's, which we could do one time if you guys want to do a deceased case against sometime of some famous TTMers that are now deceased.
Super rip-offs.
She would be a good one to do too. Yeah. So, what do you think, Andy?
Oh, no, I think I got him back in the day and was excited and realized it matched everyone else's, but I think this is going to be like a clear cut that we all going to agree that his TTMs are not legit.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. Again,
it pays to look at it. Can't go by.
I was just looking that he had a partner. He had someone who was living with them until 2009. then he married in 2012. So I don't think it's his wife. I think it's a separate secretary that's been with him for 1,000 years, probably since his the Mary Poppins years, and because they've been kind of pretty consistent. But
yeah, exactly. That's how you taint the database, right? You have a consistent signature that's done year after year after year, and that gets into the database, and then it's boom.
Because I was looking at the ones on Star Tiger today, and a lot of them, I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, probably authentic," but they are secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at the both D's, they both look like hearts, kind of like with the loop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
just look at the handwriting. Van Dyke hardly ever inscribes anything, like hardly ever, and every single TTM is inscribed. I mean, the evidence there is overwhelming. Also,
and also being 94 years old. I mean, if my
94 years
handwriting is that girlish at 94, then that's pretty good.
The new secretary is at least shaking it up a bit. So that wasn't. Never mind. Chase.
Wait, what?
Chase. What's your?
Yeah, I mean, you guys covered it all. It's they're not real.
Okay, we have it. Now we're gonna vote.
Chase.
Okay, guys, give me your votes. Give me your votes.
Mm.
Definitely authentic, probably authentic, neutral, probably fake, definitely fake. So we'll go with Andy first.
Thanks. Neutral. No. Definitely
fake. I'm saying definitely fake. Mike.
Definitely fake.
Troy.
Definitely fake.
Chase.
Definitely fake.
So we have concluded that he is definitely authentic. No, definitely fake, guys.
Wait, what?
See, don't you know if it loads up on one side, it automatically goes to the other? So he's definitely fake. Beware. Don't send a Dick Van Dyke unless you have a plan to actually get an authentic autograph. It's $1. If you got a little crazy idea in your head, maybe I'm going to send it to this person, see him to be a venue or something like that, go for it. But just know you're probably going to get a secretarial back. Moving on to a fanatic feedback, and we have a question from Jake Taylor.
Hey guys, my name is Jake Taylor. New listener, first-time caller, and just getting back into TTM autos. I just started binging the podcast and had a question. For those of you that collect autographed card sets, how do you handle cards with multiple players? For example, some of you collect the 1991 Fleer set. I was going to collect just the Cubs team set. One of the cards has Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg on it. In general, and specific to these two players, how would you approach completing this set? Thanks, and may your mailboxes be full.
And your stamps forever.
Was that Troy calling in?
So a little copyright infringement of Troy's. No, it's fine. People do that all the time. How many people like took sayings from other people on YouTube back in the day, Mike? Like everybody did that.
What's up, crazy YouTubers?
Added one little thing to the end, and then so that's fine. At least I think so. I'm gonna talk to Troy. So Troy and Chase and Andy, you guys are kind of the set guys here.
Well,
how do you handle multi-person?
I'll
cards?
show off that exact card he's talking about there.
That's
There
an
you
easy
go,
one, right?
there.
That's an easy one.
That is really easy to get. I think what, $15?
Yep.
$5 for Ryan and 10 for Andre.
Yep.
But again, you got some that are not as easy, which is come on.
I do not envy you that one.
There we go. Griffey and Bonds together. Yeah, that
Cost $1 to get that one done.
yeah, okay.
and a lot of practice.
So what do you guys do? Like, let's say maybe thinking outside the box a little bit from what he asked, like the individual players, there are some that are impossible, right? I think you just leave those blank until you get them, right? That's all you can do.
They're just in my sets, they're just blank till I get them. You
Yeah.
know, like with what me and Troy have been doing is with like the umpires on the checklist. You know, there's things you can do with the checklist to complete your sets. But
What about team cards? I don't know if you guys have team cards like with the full team on them.
Yeah, a lot of times people just send those out to just anybody on the team or a manager or
That makes sense. Manager
the
makes
general
sense.
manager of the team.
That's
there.
Now, quick question. Like, I don't do multi-sign cards. If you had, let's say you have a team card with 4 players, I think Chase, you were asking about a Braves one that has like four Braves on it. Would you get 4 of those cards if you didn't want to risk sending that same card and put that in your set, or would you risk it and try and get all 4 on the same card?
Normally, I'll easily do 2. On the third one, it's tricky. Depends if the first one would have to be a good signer or a private signing. But when it comes down to, if I got a card signed by 3, it would have to be a private signing or in person or something. I don't know. I would hate to risk it. I mean,
that's a good point. TTM versus paid. That's a different risk factor. TTM, it's a lot riskier to send something like that. So paid would definitely be much more likely.
Yeah, the only team cards I usually, well, I've only done it a couple times, but I try to get multi-signed. Is there was one instance, what was it, 3 years ago, guys, when Nick Pivetta would get 3 other guys and the team card to sign with him at that. If you send him one card, he get 2 other people to sign it with him.
I don't remember that.
That was a Nishak Pivetta thing back in the day. But that you could try that. You could send a team card to one person and say, hey, if you could get someone else to sign it. And then when you don't know who it is, you can come on Facebook and go to identify your autographs.
There you go.
And we could help you out see who that was.
I think the main thing, guys, have fun with it. Do something creative if you want. Do something down the line of what these guys are doing. But it's your collection, and team and set collecting especially is definitely your collection. You do what you want.
Well,
we need to move on, guys. We gotta move on.
I had
Summers.
We gotta move on. Dude, I'm gonna get in trouble. We gotta move
the
on.
world's greatest advice too.
Wait, Summer. Wait, Summer, you didn't talk, did you?
No, I didn't.
I'm so sorry.
I was just waiting my turn. But...
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give you time. You got time.
All right, just really fast. I'm doing the 92 tops, and there's a crap load of cards that had 4 rookies on each card. And every card has a Dominican player basically on them. So it's virtually impossible to get that card signed from 28 years ago.
But you would send them first, right? If you did. You send that one first, and then the other ones would be less risky.
Right, exactly. But just trying to get that, I mean, all the guys will move back. Yeah. That's the only way is private signings, and a lot of them never made it to the majors, so no one's ever heard of them. Yeah. So when you have team cards like that, they are just a pain in the butt. And like that one, like Chase has shown,
that one's not.
Bo Diaz has been dead for a long time.
Yeah, it's not going to be completed.
Yeah. Unless you got the dead guy first, then you went
Matt Peace. All right. Okay. We're moving on. Okay, we're moving on to Reaper Report, guys. This is a list of people who passed away in the last 2 weeks. Not to fly through this, but Nicholas Cordero, Charlie Daniels, Hugh Downs, and Carl Reiner. Those are some of the biggest names that passed away. Reiner was an amazing signer, TTM. So he's going to be great in this. Daniels was great too. Yeah, he was the email guy, right? So, some big names passed away over the last 2 weeks. So that's for your information. It's promotion time, Mikey.
Okay, as always, you can find us on Graphers AA. Check out autographsforacure.com. But I want to give a shout out to Mr. Troy Rudder. If you can see, he's a little thinner. So congratulations on your weight loss, dude. You look awesome.
Thanks, man.
Let's see. Troy.
Oh, back to me. All right. Again, all of our links are in Graphers AA. It's also ttmautograph.com on the web and TTM Autograph on Instagram and YouTube. I have a new YouTube video up, so you can go check that out. And, just trying to get things organized again and get through this. I hate when people call it a crazy time, but it's a crazy time.
It is a crazy time. You can call this time a crazy time. Also, plug your book. It's going to be on eBay signed, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm putting a few copies of Autograph Collecting Secrets on eBay for $20 shipped out the door if you're in the U.S. Otherwise, you can find it on Amazon for, I think I'm going to reduce it to 12 or 10 here soon. It's normally 14. So
nice.
So
Chase.
Check it out, Chase and Neek on YouTube. I got Instagram, and go check out Autographs for a Cure.
Awesome, Andy.
I don't have enough time to say anything, so I'll pass.
Oh my God!
We bumped you, Andy Summers. Sorry. We'll catch you next show.
The chair from Iowa dedicates his 5 minutes to Andy Summers.
I was this close to making a video today, but it just never happened.
And I just
was
took the
very
will away
tempted.
from to do it tomorrow. Okay, fine. I'll go then. Go check out. You know what? I will yield my time to the end of the show. Go to graphersAA.com, enter all of our stuff. All right, guys, that's it for today. And you take care, all of you autograph addicts.